Hey guys, I'm doing a quick test here. All right, perfect. So I'm back live here on the YouTube. So hi, good to see you guys again. My name is Jason, the creator of I Am Legion for Dying Light, and it looks like the video. There we are. Okay, so some of my settings got cleared on the. I'm using the Streamlabs desktop, and it looks like they've also started to do more premium features, which is cool, I guess, on their side, but one of those things of like finding out which things work which week kind of thing. So, hi again, my name is Jason, the creator of I Am Legion for Dying Light 1 and 2. Thank you guys so much for all your feedback on the Discord stream. If you guys are a part of the Discord community, if you're not, I would highly recommend joining the Discord. I've been very busy these days and have not had a chance to keep up with the Nexus as much as I would like. But if you guys do have questions, we have a great community. So we're now around 600 members over on the Discord channel. And there's a lot of people on there that are willing to jump on and answer questions very quickly. So if you have continued questions or running into problems, make sure to jump on the Discord channel first, and I will try to get back to you guys as soon as possible, as soon as I see your messages. So today I'm going to be going through and trying to create a hot fix. So there was a couple of reported bugs from this latest version. So this latest version that I just put out is not the official 1.1, but rather a 1.0F, which is just a continuing, ongoing, rolling update for the 1.0 update that I did. Basically trying to keep up with all of the official updates and patches that they're putting out. There are a few things that are still a little buggy, so that's something that I'm looking at right now and what I'll be continuing to progress forward on today. So I'm going to go ahead and get things set up. So for all my newcomers who are not used to my streams, in the top left, we have the extracted data 0 files. In the bottom left, we have my mod. And then let's go ahead and get these other ones pulled up as well. So I also go ahead and pull up the source files. Source files up. So go ahead and share out that I'm live for the people on Discord. And we'll go ahead and pull up the source folder. So this is our source folder. I pretty much keep this open the entire time. And then lately I've been also keeping up this data 3-pack. So basically as I continue to generate updates, I just kind of drag them directly in and then test immediately kind of thing. So where we're at with the current phase of the development is that there are so many different things as far as the content with the armor goes about trying to get it all balanced out. Some people have reported having issues with their stash and that kind of thing. And so I'm going to go try to make sure all of that is working correctly. With this latest update, they've changed some things on the back end from what I was aware of when I first started on the 1.1 update. And so I need to go back and reevaluate some of those things now that I've been getting some feedback on there to make sure that all of that will still work as expected. I'm sure it will, but some things may need to be refactored. Especially, it looks like they're doing something of their on their own side with armor coming up, and there is also a lot of updates in the files that claim that there's a pistol coming. So it looks like they're going to slowly start bringing the pistols back in, and so that's good news. I think for some people it kind of killed it when we got to the pistols in Dying Light 1, so we'll kind of see. So over to my right, I've got the YouTube stream. I'll keep an eye on there as you guys have questions. If you are having problems or want to just talk in general, I'll be on here working. Feel free to jump on and just ask any questions as we go. And also, I will be trying to filter through some of the questions coming in from the Discord. So if you're on there asking questions as well, I'll try to keep an eye. So basically where we're at right now is that there's some weirdness with the AI. So I'm going to stop on the armor temporarily and switch back over to some of the core features of the mod and make sure that everything is running as expected. Last couple of times that I played through, I couldn't get volatiles to behave correctly. There's just a couple of little kinks here and there with how certain things are acting. And a couple of people have reported crashes with the Peacekeeper models. And so I'm going to specifically be going through trying to look for crashes and try to figure out if we can fix the volatile AI and then also maybe rebalance some of the AI in general. Some people have also reported that the viral AI is now acting kind of weird, that they're getting large clusters and large groups of virals also acting weird. And so we're going to go ahead and just kind of play through on, I'm going to do the ultimate difficulty. And actually, tell you what, I actually am going to switch to the survivor difficulty as it's the medium, so that way I can kind of see both. Um, and that way we can start to pick up on any issues that are happening. So let's go ahead and get started on here. So I've got 0 changes right now. What we're going to do is I'm going to go in here and say, actually go back. So we need to go back to one of the hot fixes. So those were the update fixes. Let me actually go in here and say create new branch. We'll go in here and say 1.0. This is going to be a fix, and then AI hotfix. And this update is going to be primarily focused on what's going on with the AI and trying to make sure that they're all behaving correctly. I also had an idea. I've been kind of just thinking about things as I've been going. I think I might actually have a way of doing the day and night swap. So I've always wanted to be able to achieve kind of what they did in the first game, which is at night, the zombies are a little bit more intense, the night walkers versus the day walkers kind of thing. I think I have an idea of how to pull that off. And so I'm going to be going through here as well, seeing if those opportunities do present themselves, because I think I have a really simple solution for how I might be able to implement that. So we're going to give that a shot as well. All right. So first and foremost, let's go ahead and launch the game with where we're currently at. A couple of people have reported that these data presets, say notepad. Go. Here's some of this up. So someone mentioned before that the volatile file was causing issues. My guess is that that means they've updated this volatile file um, on maybe the back end. And I was thinking about it the other day, potentially. So if they changed this, so if they changed so that's part of the navigation system. So nothing else changed, but as they continue to change, like the nav mesh and that kind of thing, certain things could start to be affected by that. Let me make sure. I haven't done anything with the hive yet, but like for example, we could pull the hive in and also give them. So I basically gave them the ability to add physics when they move. They were getting hung up on each other as they were walking around. And so the other one was to help with their navigation, but I also think potentially there may be some issues with the nav mesh file as well. So I'm going to check that out. I think as well with the biters, they also are using, yeah, this size multiplier. Maybe this is actually what's causing the issues. Let me go up here and say, yeah, so I think they've removed some of these from their files. So I know this one I didn't add. So that's probably the issue, is that they've gone and updated the pathfinding for some of these guys. So to find out, we'll just go through here and make sure. In a couple of things with the Banshee as well. So potentially if they've removed this one line of code, this could explain, or at least how they've implemented on the back end, that could explain the issues. And that's always the problem with these updates is that the code, it's one thing if you go write custom code, that all of it's your custom code and that's changing. It's another thing if you're basically building off of code that they've already written, because it makes you feel like a little bit more safeguarded, like, it's their code, like, they're not going to go drastically change things from this point on. But I've found that that is often not the case with these games, is that they will actually change quite a bit from the initial launch onward. And I think that, again, goes back to their funding and that kind of thing, to where if they're truly waiting to do some of their implementations for once they have funding, then some of this code might like drastically change um, in between. So also, I did notice. So one of the big things that I saw before with watching how the humans behave and the zombies is this allow for group behavior. I just noticed that that's not on all of these files on the default. But I think I added it on the bandits in the mod, which I think is what really started to help them behave more natural with each other. Um, because I think this also kind of leans into the matrix. So they have this matrix that kind of helps define how they interact with each other. And I believe some of this this allow group behaviors allows them to like actually receive the audio updates and that kind of thing between each other. Um, if you know what I mean. So like before, again, so earlier on, this has changed a little bit in the game, but earlier on, these guys were not really meant to fight zombies. They weren't meant to really do anything. They were meant to just kind of stand there and wait for the player. Um, and as we've gone, that's changed a little bit, but I do wonder how much that's changed now with this latest DLC. So I haven't played the latest DLC, so you guys will have to let me know, what your thoughts are on the latest one. How is it going? Is it drastically improving the game? Because I am very excited to continue to play this game and continue to mod it. I think I just hit too many walls with every time they update the code. Just so much of it breaks. Okay, so that's everything in the data presence presets that's now updated. Um, when I was initially looking at this, I was looking at some of the sensor systems, and that wasn't really helping. And so potentially by changing that navigation size, maybe we'll start to see some better behaviors here. So let's go check that out. Hey, is it QCOS? QCOS? How's it going? Just to confirm, a couple of people mentioned that the stash is broken. I see that that is the case. Um, Apologize for that. Well, welcome to the Mond. I appreciate you joining. How's your experience been so far? Have you played the Mond yet? Hey, Seth Stretchcan, how's it going? Like the name. As far as the survival stuff goes, so I'm a pretty avid survival player myself. I usually mod things like Fallout 4 and that kind of thing to be survivor based, and so yeah, I absolutely. I think with this one, there's just been too much on the back end that is not um, directly achievable without a ton of testing and a ton of experimentation. And so my original vision for the mod, uh, first I was trying to achieve that, and then once I got that done, now I've been continuing to look at potential for enhancing other elements of the game. But I think it really comes down to like what users are actually enjoying the most. So I know there used to be food already populated into the world and that kind of thing in the game on Dying Light 1, but they removed a lot of those elements in this one. I've definitely seen how you can bring all that back, and so I would be very interested to do that. But I would probably want to pair up with someone so that I'm not taking on all of that by myself at this time, just because of the amount of stuff that I have going on in my career now. I just don't really have as much time to dedicate for that. But I was a big fan of the Stalker games. They had a lot of those elements. Personally, I like the idea of going and setting up somewhere and kind of slowly moving your way through the map. Um, doesn't have to be so action paced, so fast paced that you can conquer the whole map immediately, kind of thing. Um, but so far, everybody seems to be behaving somewhat normal as before. I know with her, she's supposed to be going higher. I don't see her doing that yet. Idea though is that she stays away from the player until she attacks, which she's doing for the most part. Yeah, I don't feel like she's using her go upwards code anymore. Keep watching her. Yeah, she's not using it at all. Super frustrating, man. Okay, so her behavioral code isn't working. doesn't go. She just kind of stays away from the player, which looks like she's continuing to do. But she's not going out. Guess the point is that if I can take her down with fist, then that's kind of. Yeah, she's definitely messed up. Okay, well, Banshee's definitely down for now. All the time. Yeah, because she's supposed to be like running across the tops, and that kind of concerns me because kind of the idea here was is that I was hoping, essentially you have some of the code that I've written for the infected is largely based off the code that I discovered through the Banshee. Banshee has a lot of great code by default to make her a very interesting AI, uh, way superior to volatiles. Um, she gonna jump? Um, and so if her code is messed up, then that means they've potentially redone most of the code that she was using before, which, if that's the case, that's going to be the problem. See someone up high? Yeah. Oh, no. Is he floating in air? End of the line for you, Apple. Chill. Yeah. No, I agree with you, Seth. In scarcity. So I've been trying to improve the loot mechanics in the game with this latest update for 1.1, to at least start looking at making a more realistic loot system in the game. And then a lot of that has led towards new discoveries for making new loot items and the crafting system. Based on that, how that goes, then I think that's probably where I would start to look at those survival mechanics. So the howlers are working as expected. There's still a shit ton of howlers. Um, so their spawn code is very interesting. They're using this like multiplier system for them. That's very different. So with their grouping, they're essentially thrown into this special class of spawn. Um, that doesn't seem to be working quite correctly. You can go and change the percentage, and I think what the problem is that they're the only ones in that special group. So I probably need to find the area spawners to turn down the amount of special spawns, just in general. Because it looks like even though I've reduced the percentage of probability for them to spawn, that's not really doing much because they're the only ones on the list. So they're just getting spawned in constantly. So let's go ahead and I didn't see a lot of volatiles or any volatiles yet. If we go in here and start a screen. He's coming after me. No, he's not. What's the deal here? Okay, so the banshees are broken, the volatiles are broken. Let's just go ahead and stop there really quick and go crawl through the banshee code first. Let's see if we can at least fix the banshees starting out. And then actually before that, before I deep dive on that, let's go to the stash and figure out. So what may have happened, this happened to me previously, and I'd have to go back and look at the update history. So I've launched the game before, and I've not had the pop up that you guys just saw when I launched the game with the event notice. Sometimes I feel like those are automated, but at the same time, sometimes I've seen where they're actually doing a release again, like after the first release, they released an update and then they release another mini update, like sometimes within the same day. So all I have to do to go back, and I guess I didn't back up the original here. So I extracted it at 2, and I think everybody started talking about it around 1:30. So it doesn't look like they pushed out a mini patch, but it's just interesting that I feel like so many files, even though I went and patched them on this last one, it feels like a lot of things still remain broken, and so I'm not sure why that is. So let's start with the stash really quick and just do a simple compare. No, this is broken. Files there. That the numbering is not accurate, so potentially it's because of the IDs. I didn't go in and reset all the IDs here. I was actually trying to just keep it to where I was releasing some of this without releasing everything because those are the correct IDs for the actual mod update. There it is. Copy and paste gone wrong. But I didn't get any syntax issues, which is fun. Yeah, I'm going to do this fast. So I'm guessing that's going to fix the stash. Banshee next. The behavior tree. And I think that's really probably the biggest issue here is that I've got so much custom AI code on these guys now that if they go back and they update the actual AI um, to behave differently, then it ends up with this annoying line by line rewrite that and actually while I'm doing this, so this is how I've been doing these checks before um, to help save time. So essentially, if we do when merge, essentially if we do we'll say new or open, and then basically we can go in here and say compare against like the older and the newer. So essentially we can go in here to the AI behavior trees. So we'll compare the behavior tree from July with the behavior tree from August. Here. And then based on this, this should then show if they changed anything. So there we go. We've got a couple of changes, and I thought all of these were addressed, but based on what I'm seeing in the game, potentially not. So they added a new attack here to the, what is this, attack approach? Yeah, so they added a new attack to attack approach. I've currently got the old version in here, and this would probably explain why she's doing the weird behavior, she's moving around. So let's go ahead and just close these really quick. So say attack approach, compare, compare. So my file's on the left, correct? No, my file's on the right. Well, the good news is that so they've added a new targeting mechanic for getting below, which should be able to plug and play, but they've also scrapped. So either this is, need to see if this is mine or theirs. Yeah, so this is using the old code where they're dancing around on their heads, but then right there at the end is where they're following. I've got their follow code. I think based on this, I could probably remove these, and then they're already doing that, so they wrote a more complex version of that essentially. So what I'll do is do it like that and see how that does. Next, we have the combat script. And I know I've added the reinforcement script, but let's confirm that. So with the combat there. So they have the call for reinforcements. So they're the exact same on the combat side. And then nothing else should have changed. So potentially what was happening is she's getting hung up on this attack approach because that seemed to be the one that she was doing the most. Let's make sure nothing else is like causing some serious behavior differences. So this is going to be the init, which I'm not using, and then the update, which I am using. So on the update, they added just a note. So if we grab that second, general date update, make sure this hasn't fallen behind. Yeah. Okay. Profiles. They added this jump on humans attack, which is fun. And spitting, which is I'm guessing these are all specific to the hag variant, which they haven't announced. So I'm guessing this is something they're staging for. Do you guys know if you've seen anything on here about the new hag? I don't think they've, unless they're referring to something they've put in the arena. So she also has parameters missing, so these fell through the cracks somehow. If they had put the hag in, then this would have been a problem. They also got rid of their hit reaction system, which I'm guessing means they've got a new type of system that's handling all of that. They got rid of the idea of hunting mode, which means they've redone that quest that they had on here before. They got rid of that as well. Maybe I'll get rid of this as well and just see what they're doing now. they're no longer calling run, I'll be interested to see what they're actually doing for her movement. And the nice thing is that you can always undo any of this. Let's see, hunting. I am using one hunting, which hunting, I guess, basically at the time when they released, basically meant hunting mode. Turns out the hunting was just literally whether they had UV immunity. I originally thought that meant searching, that they were like, when they spawn, they would actually be searching the environment, but I don't think that's accurate. Okay, so far we've fixed the, well, potentially fixed stash. And I'm gonna remove, a couple of people reported that they were removing this volatile. I'm gonna remove these two volatile ones from the data presets. That's what people were reporting caused it to work. But for those of you that saw the earlier part of this, those should have been updated and fixed. So if they're doing something on the back end that I'm not aware of, then, you know, I guess in the end, it's just easier to delete it. Dash is fixed. Still messed up. Definitely working. Maybe actually kill these guys. He's just screaming his head off, which I'm assuming is what's actually summoning all of these virals. This is without a chase, so I can see now what they're saying as far as that goes. These guys' pathing seems to be fine, but he seems to know how to reach me. Oof. they've upgraded them to where they're doing the scream thing. So I think what's happening is I originally wrote some code for the screaming that was supposed to be the mini chases, and potentially it's using if maybe our naming convention was the same. Also, I gotta update the sensors again because these guys are blind. It's the mod. That's the game defaults. Scream. 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 Essentially, do the same like they do like the same move over and over again. Let me see if I can find a banshee really quick and confirm. But their pathing is fixed. Uh, fixed. It's better than it was a second ago. So that data file really is messing them up for some reason. Doesn't make a lot of sense. Other than I guess if I wrote in the group behavior thing, if they've updated it to where group behavior is now causing the issue. So I think I can add back their sensor data because I mean look at this. Hello. The zombies are definitely more intelligent than these guys now. And the silent scream crap. So he screams, he's summoned. He screamed, he screamed. Yeah, I can see why this would cause all the virus to spawn. Okay, so still didn't find a banshee, so let me go find a banshee really quick. We want these guys to be scary, not annoying. Changes there. I don't think they're actually causing the mini ones. Yeah, these guys' sensors definitely need to be improved. Eventually, we'll spawn from banshees. There's one. Two. I'm feeling God moves. I can watch these guys. The one shot thing. Well, so the reason the one shot thing is happening is because I had no armor on. For my testing, it's my little test save or whatever. You know, obviously throw some armor on. Pulled off some of the better stuff, so. Testing purposes, you guys can I can be my Birdman. Help with Well, hopefully you guys are liking the balance between the volatiles now better than before. So as you can see, there's a lot less volatiles. I just need to figure out the screamer balance. They're still out there. They're just quite as many as there were last time. Follow code is still working well. Goons are back in the world. Make sure they're working. Yeah, so the sensor code needs to come back for sure. They are working again. Good. Makes me happy. A lot of people have mentioned they're not a huge fan of the goons. I love the goons. Running goons are probably my favorite part of the mod. I'll continue to tell people how to turn them off, but guys are so obnoxious. I love them. Okay. Let's see if their pathfinding is where it needs to be. So is he still there? Still after me. I think I lost him. Nope, he's coming. He's just slower. Looks like his physics are still kind of working. All right, so the goon's still good to go. Take this one by one, I guess. The zombies are still working really well. They're still focused on me. We'll just got upset. Earls got called. Okay. So the detection code for the goons is still excellent. Looks like the virals are working really well. If we do this. Oof. Here. So that was another thing is it looks like the bandit code. I might be able to take a look at this again. I know that some people mentioned, like, I agree. There's all these bandits in here with zombies that are not attacking each other. I'll take a look at that as well. For the viral or for the volatiles, we still haven't seen the banshees.
Everything all right? You seem kind of scatterbrained. Didn't sleep a wink.
Hey, Mr. Helping Hand, how's it going? Yeah. So as far as climbing, so those goons. So I'll tell you a fun story while I'm working on this. So let me know if I bore you to death here, but basically they wrote locomotion code, which tells the AI how to move. They basically locked away the code that allows them to climb. So the climb code is designated to, last I checked, 3 different zombie types. So virals can climb, volatiles can climb, humans can climb, and banshees, and corruptors. And so they're the only ones that can actually climb up anything. And so when you're trying to get any of these other guys to climb, unless they were already predefined to be climbers in the code that somewhere where I can't get to, they can't climb. If you guys figure out a way to do it, please let me know. I've worked on it for a long time trying to get it to work. It wouldn't work. So the goons are actually, so basically in order to get these guys to climb, you have to switch them over to the locomotion logic of another type. So, like for example, if I switch the goons over to the locomotion type for the volatiles or the virals, then they'll climb. They'll use those animations to climb up and everything. Uh, if not, if you don't do that, they won't climb. The caveat with that is that the animation files and all of that are linked um, to that locomotion file as well. So what you end up with, yeah, I saw one climb. This is looking a little bit more familiar. See old friend. So, anyway, long and the short of this is that they they cannot jump on cars or climb unless they are given a locomotion file that can, and basically that ruins their animations and everything. Kind of immersion breaking. I always like seeing what they didn't nav in this game, but you can find out pretty quickly. Oof. Here. They're working, but the virals, I think this is one of the problems, is the volatiles are now getting this cannot reach. A lot of them are. You can see this. So they're getting jammed up on here, because they are coming up here. It's just the amount. So I think I remember where that file is located, but it's like the amount has changed to where they can't reach the climb point. Is almost how it feels, that they're queuing up at the climb point. Yeah, see the banshees are just kind of behaving similar to virals. I don't feel like they're actually acting very much like banshees at this point. I think that's the problem, is that the nav mesh is so finicky in here. These guys were not meant to climb like this. The longer the mod goes, and the more they get the ability to do these kinds of things, the more people are starting to notice like where it's just not working. Yeah, so I'll fix the scream issue, and I also know why they're doing what they're doing there. Um, the volatiles next. Okay, let's fix the volatiles. And then really quickly, just to confirm here, make sure I haven't missed anything. Here, I've got 17 fixes so far. That's pretty good. Let's see, combat. the summoning taunt. I don't think that one should be in the mod. No, I've removed everything. So the only thing that's in here are these base files. And in the base files is where I have set them to rush because I couldn't get them to behave normally. And so the reason they're behaving that way I turn this on. And then for the nav mesh, I think what I'm going to do with the nav mesh is, so I have this file that's been floating around for forever. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to the default, and then I'm going to rebuild the nav mesh navigation presets all the way from the ground up again, because they are acting a little weird with the queuing and everything. So let's just go ahead and reset that. That should clear quite a bit. And then let's just go through and I'll rewrite it. Matter of fact, actually, I think what I can do here is go in here and say, because I think some of this is also where I think I was talking to somebody on the Discord about this, where I thought I saw a solution, which is basically their logic for crossing dynamic platforms has been messed up in the sense that like they could never truly get up there before. They weren't really meant to chase you through the city like they are now. And they have these pathways or these bridges in between buildings that are all marked as dynamic paths. And so because of that, I've been trying to find out the best way to go in here and say, basically tell them to use those paths. And I think I figured out a way, but now I'm seeing all these other issues. So maybe first let's start with their ability to climb. And then we'll go in here and try to see if we can get them to behave a little bit better when moving between the buildings here. Because if you watch them, they do this weird thing of, in general, the default AI does this thing where it's like, it'll follow you for a short ways, it'll lose the path, it'll go back down, it'll try to find a new one, you know, and I think a lot of that is where they just weren't really meant to climb the buildings quite the way they're currently doing in the mod. Interesting. Okay, so what that should result in is we should have a navigation file that everything has been cleared except where I added their ability to climb for each one of the different types. I think the only problem with this is that usually sometimes you can get typos from doing this, so we'll see if this works. But yeah, so we fixed that. We changed that for the volatiles. So let's just go ahead and guess let's just launch back in and see. The streamers. I think I'm gonna try to rewrite some of their random walk code as well today. So want them to be able to scream at NPCs in the world. They kind of get upset at them, but they don't actually do like a scream. I think it'd be really cool to like. I mean, they would get immediately flooded. I think it'd be really cool to see these guys all of a sudden get flooded. Love it. You're gonna wipe this guy out. Yeah, it might be more possible. So before I looked at removing the chase mechanic from the game to where it was more um, based on noise. And now that they actually have the volatile screaming um, as part of the vanilla mechanic, I think you could actually probably get rid of a lot of the chase mechanics and do some really fun stuff. Still one of my favorite part of the game. Also need to. A lot of people have reported, so you can see here his health is low, and so he's gone. He's gone to high rank. But originally, I was looking for a way to heal him, but I haven't figured out how to do that yet. Because they'll continue to go through the city. I mean, they'll eventually get wiped out. It's good to see he went and rejoined his buddy here.
Wasting our time, asshole. Must be seeing things. Anyone see what I'm seeing?
So they're all behaving how I would expect. And matter of fact, I really like how they're now moving in the city.
Something ain't quite right.
See how they do against each other. So the screaming is still happening. So they just did spit. So they're spitting it at me. They're still chasing me though. That's really weird because I mean maybe it's because they're after this guy. It's because they're wiping out the PK patrol. It's his deal. So I don't think it's the AI behavior files. There's something else going on here. Interesting. So it's not the AI behavior files. Something is causing them to run away. Mm, I mean, it has to be in the AI file. If we clear the AI file, let me first make sure that we're getting the latest and greatest version on here. If we clear this file, which I hate doing, I mean, if anything, let's keep some of it because otherwise there's just too many changes there. So let's get rid of some key features here. So we'll get rid of like that way we can leave the behavior tree. Now, the behavior tree could be because of the common folder. So the volatiles, I mentioned this before on one of my other streams, is that the volatiles, and I think that they're going through and rewriting some of this, but when the volatiles were first released in the game, they were super simple. And they actually used the common file for a lot of their behavior. So potentially the changes I made to the common file are causing it. And then I'll also see about the hour numbers. Superior guys. It's annoying the amount of things they did with the flashlight as well. So the flashlight should allow you to get their attention. Audio improvements seem to be working. So a lot of this is the built-in aggression levels. Okay. So, yeah. Literally jump on the platform. I stand in front of you. Audio bug still there. He spit. He screamed again. He's just essentially a somnolent at this point. And that's what's causing all these virals. He screams. Something's causing him especially to just behave really weird. So viral is still leading Paddock. So it's good to see their code still works. Like momentarily put them on pause, and that's pretty much it. Okie dokie. Yeah. I bet it's the screen delay coming from the profiles. I bet it's one of these other values that I'm feeding in is causing the cooldowns to be out of whack. Let's see. If I go in here and just delete volatiles out completely, and then, because that could also be what's causing them to run away, is a value that's out of whack. So we put that back in, and then we put these back in. in photo. There's some lame attack. You know, and it's been so. I mean, I haven't even played with the vanilla volatile since they've made the volatile update, so I really can't say whether this is default behavior at this point. But I did notice that yes, still their screens do not have audio, so they are glitched for sure. Okay, so if we kill AI, completely wipe that out. At least it's still spawn over there, so I can keep testing this out. Stream work. Jump attack thing is still a thing though. Well, okay. So okay. So it's an AI. It's definitely in there. Okay. Confirmed. Okay. So the AI folder goes back. This time, we're gonna clear out all of these. And basically, let's keep any of these. Nah. Let's try to figure out if it's one of these. And actually, let's only keep the behavior tree. Just kill everything but the behavior tree. If this is a syntax error, I'm gonna be pissed. That didn't show up in the log. But something is redirecting their attacks. efficacy one. There. The scream thing, which I believe he screamed last time. I think the difference was is it didn't. Screamed again, no audio. So it's a behavior tree. It attacks, it jumps, screams. I don't know what this is about. So the interesting thing about them is that the behavior trees, I have to go confirm, the behavior trees don't actually. That's the first time I've seen that in a minute, so at least we got that working. Okay. So the behavior tree itself. No, because I left it in there by accident. Get rid of it. So if we go in there and we say, I mean, this is all the AI file, so but we have to get to the baseline to confirm that it's all working as expected so that we can start dialing it back in to figure out what has gone missing. I'm not sure why he ran away, and I'm not sure why they're all immediately screaming, but hopefully this will help. So he's essentially vanilla at this point. Interesting. Hello. Spit, he screamed and didn't summon. definitely a pathing issue. He's like floating off the ground right now as well. With a mean elbow. See, he just doesn't know how to, like, literally from here to here, he doesn't know how to navigate. He's having to move across that space. Weird. All right. So let me hear you scream one more time just to confirm. It's like a connection issue. And I mean, that's really bad. I mean, so potentially the mod is bridging the gap there between this pathing issue, but like him floating in the air, him hitting invisible walls. I mean, it's like they put them out here, but are they even meant to be out here, kind of thing, is how it often feels with these guys. So there's stuff doing the screen. So it's definitely my config file that's causing the screaming. The attack stuff as well is also the config file, it looks like. So let's start there and then see if I can put back in the rest of the files. It's obnoxious, man. Okay, so behavior tree. With these guys, we may have to just start over on their profile. Luckily, it's only one. Base, air. So the summoning taunt enabled, obviously the issue. The delay target spotting. So if we get rid of the summoning taunt, I guess that's the thing, is they literally have one of these guys that's meant to be, that's it. It's the only changes. So I guess they have one of these guys that's meant to be a summoner, right? Yeah. Yeah. So it must be a quest specific one that they put in there. I don't know what this delay on target spotting is, but literally nothing else has changed. No other, which is sad. I mean, that means I've had to shred so much of my code for these guys, which means I'm gonna have to go and rebalance this guy out completely. But so with Tyrant, what's the difference between their Tyrant and my Tyrant? So with that balanced, and that would explain the screaming, is because they're not meant to scream. They've got a summoner specific one, and he's the one that's supposed to do a specific scream, I guess. And so he's playing the animation of a scream, and it's got a glitch where it's firing multiple times, probably because, again, they're not meant to actually scream. And summon. They don't know how to. I mean, the ground is just not right for these guys' attack. It's interesting though, because so there's two things here. First is I've turned the scream off so you can stop screaming, but when you remove the additional files, his scream audio actually worked. So maybe let's get to the bottom of why that scream audio wasn't working as well. Put it back on. Turn this up to something like, well, see, that's the problem. I guess if this is the base, then the summoner has to be fixed. So profiles, summoner. Down to him, so that way he can behave how he needs to behave. And then these guys can go up to like seconds. So then these guys should screen, first encounter them. Find out how they put this in the game. Like I said, so I had mine, which was like the mini chase mechanic, which I don't think that's working anymore. I've essentially had to pull out most of my volatile code at this point. But if we go in here and say, I'll just specifically say volatiles, say finding files, summoning, yeah. So this is why they're first doing this. So what we might do here as well is right now they've got them set up to where it's like, oh, okay, as soon as they see the player, they scream. I don't really like that. I mean, it could be fun, but let me try something. Move this optional further down. So that they can do other things first. Okay. And then, so they have their screen back. So let's figure out, why the audio is not working for that. We're wasting the time of starting all the way back up. let's go in here and kill. I mean, say, so font. It's got to be calling something, right? So volatile summoning taunt. Let's just do some due diligence here. Volatile summoning taunt. Here it is. It says position, get position self, and this is also another thing is I added that fix for the screamer code. I think I'm gonna probably like take a quick break for lunch here, but essentially, I think this is wrong. And I fixed this before with the screamer code, and so I think I'm gonna also make the correction to these guys as well while I'm here. Where it's very simple, but I've never understood why they're doing this. They're getting their self position and then they're screaming at themselves, which makes no sense to me because technically, if you want something to chase something, you identify what's been spotted and you get the position of what's been spotted, not what your position is. I mean, I guess you could do where your position is, but it basically it calls in everybody to your position, not to the position of the player. So what I changed was this, and let's see if this works for what's the one. Let's go here, say combat. Let's see if we can make these guys a little bit better while we're here. View, I have the self. Basically, I did at player position. So what we can do is we can say get local player, we'll get the object, transform, and then that way when we say, basically we then say get self position, basically you can go in here and just say player position instead of self position. I really don't think that one makes any sense. Okay, so if the volatile screams, he'll now scream and indicate where the player is, which is kind of fun. So then also what we were trying to find is, okay, so it gets the target, condition is player's target, true, in radius, summoning taunt, minimum range. Technically, we're already getting the player. I don't know if that gets the object position, though. I don't know if it's getting the transform position. So this should get the actual position, make noise. So what we need to find is this. This is our problem. So it's the tyrant scream, which my guess is the reason that it's not working is because they've added it to some file somewhere, which is probably the noise definitions, and I've updated it, but potentially a syntax error is causing it to not work. So we then say, which that confirms it. So if we go in here and say AI, noise data, noise data, grab that. If I lost like a git commit or something, that could explain some of this. there's Tyrant Scream. What is it actually saying it fixed there? I hate when it does stuff like that. It's just literally finding like a where they added spaces rather than a tab. Let me think. Okay, so there's this file, and did it find anything else? No, but what is that calling? So if we go in here and say Tyrant Scream, it does the Tyrant Summon, which potentially we need to go a step further and say, what is the Tyrant Summon doing? And it's doing the reinforcement data, so next stop is reinforcement data. And this was also updated, but let's make sure. This is the mod, left is the mod, right is not. Potentially, where I've added these additional ones, it could be causing a problem. Maybe they don't need to be last in the list. Like Tyrant Summon is technically the last one. Maybe it works with like an IV system. I don't think it does, but just to be sure, let's go here and say paste. And then I don't think I actually confirm. See, it would have been on noise data. Summoning Horde Bandit Human. System mod. Clear this. So on the summoning horn, it's currently using Bandit Human, which is different from what it originally had. I think it originally had reinforcements or something like that. And then, so the volatile hunt is no longer being used. And then rock and the boat, I'm pretty sure is not. Yeah. So get rid of this one. I don't know how it feels about there being ones that aren't actually being used in the game. But for the volatile hunt, that's actually where. So we have the concept of the volatile summoning taunt, which does. Is the problem is that they have too much of their AI joined together here. So like with their AI, I'm assuming their AI is both using the BT value for a tyrant. So how does it confirm whether it's a tyrant or not? It must be the profile. So the profiles are determining whether or not but like why does the summoning taunt so I think what I want to do here is I think potentially this could be a pretty easy split. Basically what we'll do is we'll go in here and say if they're a normal volatile, they need backup versus like a tyrant you know, they do their own thing by themselves. But with a regular one, we can go in here and say hunt enabled. This will go and look for one called hunt instead. Summon. Then this one will be summoning taunt hunt. And this may need to get, again, this goes down to like the different difficulties is again on like, so on casual survivor, if you set this up correctly, you just turn it off essentially. So then in profiles, we say base, clear the compare. So this is the mod on the right. We'll go down here and say summoning taunt false. Down below that, we can just actually just do these top two. We'll do hunt enabled. Through. That way we can leave this as disabled, which actually gets rid of the need for this cooldown. So their hunt cooldown, we'll leave that. So if hunt is true, then we need to go into combat, taunt, hunt. If they do hunt, then they do the noise ID. So then on the noise ID, we need to make sure it's the mod. They actually do the, I think I already made this. Right. I guess I cleared it. So basically, we will make a version of the Tyrant Scream. We'll just grab that. Say volatile hunt scream. Save. And then in the taunt hunt, we'll go here. Say hunt scream, which does the taunt. And this never starts a chase. We don't have to worry about that. Taunt, hunt cooldown, and hunt cooldown. Summon. So then in the noise data, we can clear this. In the reinforcement data, that's the wrong one. So I gotta check because one gets thrown to the other side kind of thing. So in the mod, we have the concept of volatile hunt, which summons 1 to 3 volatiles that I do not have forced on the player, which is fine. They have a delay, chance to spawn, and then the cooldown. So what we can do is in the noise data, we can then say volatile hunt, track, awaken, duration, range effectiveness, range. Yeah, we'll leave that. So then what they should do is we should now have the concept of a volatile that if the hunt is enabled, it can do the hunt, summon hunt. And that's on a 30-second cooldown. That way, if they have the summoning taunt, they also have that. I think what we probably want to do. Okay. For the tyrant, we probably want them to also have it. So then the tyrant, this is the extracted. Hey Jeremiah, thank you so much for jumping on. Very cool. Can you said that he has, or has it? Are you mentioning that he has reviewed it, or he's going to? Let's see. Oh, that's awesome. So then that way the tyrant can also now summon the rest of these guys as well. Very cool. Thanks for letting me know. That's exciting. Let's see. So I guess let's go test this out. So basically the end result of this should be that the volatiles will now, if they spot the player on a 30-second cooldown, they have the potential for calling specifically for volatiles. I wanted to set this up as a mini chase system before, and I did. I had that working for a little while, and then an update came out and it made it very buggy. But if you have these hunters out there, right, you have this idea that you don't want to summon nonstop virals. Those are annoying. So if you encounter a volatile, having a chance that he will scream for the other volatiles so that they come swarming in on your position will scare the shit out of you, hopefully. And then it's also fun of saying like, okay, so what about banshees? So if he screams, a banshee shows up, a couple of volatiles show up. If I can get the AI code working correctly again, all along I've wanted to get all of these guys searching rooftops and moving across the tops of buildings. I'm going to try to look for, a lot of people mention the rooftop spawns. So they specifically went through and disabled all the rooftop spawns in the code. I'm not sure why they've done that, but based on how the AI behaves on the rooftops, I think I can guess. And so I'm trying to. Oh, very cool. So if I can get these guys moving across rooftops how I expected them to, that would be a lot more fun, I think. I think I want to go down there because that's going to get too muddy of determining whether the other ones that have spawned or see another. Well, the good news is we definitely got their behavior working again. So they're behaving as expected here. We got a screen, but I'm not sure if that was. Pathing clearly works. not feeling spawn, which is fine, as long as I can get his behavior working correctly. Scream is working. Okay, so there's a scream, but I didn't see the scream indicator. Doesn't look like he's summoned any additional ones, but I do think he's at least behaving much better than I wanted to. I am noticing quite a bit of flickering on my playthrough right now. I'm processing a ton of data in the background though, so I'm not sure if that's because of my card or what it is, but a couple of people have reported some issues with the engine files, so I think I'll shred the engine files as well in case it's causing the rendering issues. Escaping bolters. Okay, next we're probably going to work on the sensors again to rebalance out the sensor data. They're just too they're too easy to walk past. I mean, he doesn't see me right now, and this is just using the vanilla detection rates. So that's about to get fixed here in a second. Because I can pretty much just run around this guy. I mean, they're working again. Hopefully here. Good. All right. Volatiles are fixed. At least for now, they need some minor tweaks, but I would say that's much better. Okay, so what are we at? We're at 26 fixes so far. Good stuff. I'm gonna go grab some lunch, so I'm gonna take a break here. I'll be continuing on this today and be getting that hotfix out. I think I have a version of 1.1 that I might release early. The more and more I think about the armor rebalancing, I might go ahead and release the legendary armors so that you guys have some new things to go search for in the map, and then I'll start to dial in the lesser armors as the balancing continues. So potentially do it in staging of like 1.1, you know, alpha, beta, Charlie for the bugs that you guys find, and then maybe do like, you know, all the way out to F, and then continue to dump in those armor changes. We've been at 1.1 for a while, so I'm going to continue to look at that again today. But I'll keep working on this and fixes for volatiles. But I would say there's quite a few things that need to happen here today. That yeah, new features coming soon. So I'm gonna take a break. I'll be back here in a little bit, guys. Thank you so much for watching and hanging in there. And I look forward to talking to you guys here again in a little bit. Thanks, guys.